Assalamu alaikum to all participants. My name is Farhan Hasib. I'm from HR division. I'll be the moderator for today's session. Today's topic is post-COVID change management in engineering consultancy firms. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Najam Jamy Sahab. I'll start with his brief introduction. Mr. Najam Jamy is a recognized expert in energy efficiency, environmental management, and institution development. Since 2014, he has been working as a senior technical advisor at World Bank in Pakistan. Earlier, he was Assistant Country Director and Chief Environment and Climate Change at UNDP Pakistan. During 2010 to 2012, he was Director General Operations of the Benazir Income Support Program, where he was responsible for overseeing the conduct of the largest socioeconomic survey in South Asia, covering over 27 million households. Mr. Jamy has also worked for IUCN, the World Conservation Union, in various capacities in Pakistan, focusing on the development of conservation and sustainable development strategies in all 4 provinces and 2 regions in the country. Mr. Jamy has a bachelor's degree in architecture from UET, Lahore, and a master's in environmental engineering from Kyoto University, Japan, and also an MBA from Pakistan. Mr. Jamy has attended several advanced courses related to energy, environmental, and sustainable development at prestigious universities and institutes in the USA, UK, Spain, Switzerland, Japan, and Austria. He has also authored and published several papers on energy, environment, alternate energy sources, etc., in national and international journals. So before we start, I would just like to inform the participants that a recorded version of this webinar will be available to you, and we will try for this to be an interactive session. In case of any queries or questions, the participants can use the Zoom chat or the raise hand option in Zoom. That's all from my side. So over to you, sir.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everybody. First of all, I would like to thank NESPAC for inviting me and to talk to you about a very interesting topic. And I hope you would like it. And please feel free in between to ask any question or is there any concern. I mean, that would be fine because it's not just a lecture which you need to hear, but you need to really interact and come up with your own ideas also. In fact, in this presentation, I'll also ask you certain things in between. So I'll really appreciate if you can respond to some of those things so that we make it more lively and interesting. So there'll be 2 major parts of this presentation. In the first part, I'll briefly tell you that for the past 2 or 3 years since we've had this corona pandemic in the world, so large number of organizations, management consultancy firms, World Bank, others, they have been studying this phenomena that how will COVID impact our economy and society, and how would things change in various sectors. And as you know, that the biggest sector which got a hit was the airline industry and the hotel industry, because airline travel was reduced, hotels were empty, so they had huge losses. Similarly, other organizations also have faced a lot of issues. Of course, the pharmaceutical companies, the vaccine companies, and the people who make masks, all of them made billions and trillions. But that's just one small area where people have made money, but others have faced huge challenges. So in the first part, I'll tell you that how different these changes have been studied and what has been recommended, or at least not recommended, but at least they have identified or diagnosed that what sort of changes we will foresee in our workplace and in our homes. And the second part is about how can organizations like NESPAC, which deal with engineering consultancy, I'm using just a broad term, maybe you do a variety of other things also, but primarily you are a large engineering consultancy firm or organization, whatever you want to call it. So how can they cope with this phenomena and still thrive and capitalize on it and continue to make profits? So these are just some ideas. This is not a PhD thesis. You may agree or disagree, but at least you'll get some ideas. So if you all agree, then I can continue. Sorry. Yes. So like I said, that there will be 8 key lessons which we have learned from this pandemic. And what are those lessons? We'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see if you have any thoughts on them. Number 1. Now, I don't know whether, let me see, can you, yes, I think it will be easier to see. First of all, there will be, and you have already noticed, there are lots of changes at the workplace. First of all, there is a tremendous adoption of technology, and people are now replacing face-to-face meetings with virtual meetings, just like we are doing right now. In the good old days, I would travel to Lahore or Karachi, wherever you are placed and wherever you want me to come, and I'll come and we'll meet and we'll chat and we'll talk and have discussions. But that has all vanished, and vast majority of meetings now take place virtually. Previously, of course, when before the COVID pandemic, we used to talk to people internationally, but that was not very common. Even people would fly over from other countries, or you would fly out to other countries. And that was one of the fun parts of a job, that you would travel and you would go to different places, meet people, stay somewhere, have meetings and some fun also, but that has gone. And now you have tremendous adoption of technology. And I must tell you that organizations found this is saving them huge amounts of travel cost and huge amount of time. I'll give you a simple example. If you want to have a 1-hour meeting in Quetta, you have to spend 3 days, 1 day for flying, next day for the meeting. Then the flight is in the morning, so you can't fly the same day back. So you stay another night and then you travel back. So for 1 hour, 2 hours, you have to spend 3 days. That used to happen. But now, every day at the World Bank, we talk to Balochistan, GB, AJK, everybody virtually, and it's easier. It has other issues also with it. I'll come to it later, but at least that has happened. Number 1, many tasks have been automated now. Several of the things you're doing yourself now through automation and technology, and gradually some positions are becoming redundant. Like I see at World Bank, those people who used to run around carrying files, making copies, that system is gone. Everything is now attached to an email and sent to 20 people who don't read it, but still nobody's making photocopies. Photocopy room is empty. Some positions have become redundant, and many more will become redundant if this phenomena continues. Then we found that remote working has become very popular. So work from home, organizations again found that they don't need to invest in huge buildings, and they can save on rent. They can have maybe 25% space and maybe allow 25% people to come, like we do at the World Bank. Right now, we are at 10% level. Only 10% people can go, for which we have to apply. And if in that quota, we fit into that quota, we go, otherwise we work from home. But gradually, organizations are finding that they don't need huge spaces. They can actually have smaller spaces, save on rent, and let people work from home. Of course, this is not applicable to those jobs where you have to actually interact with people and provide some physical service like a dentist or a doctor, or so many other jobs where you just can't work from home. You have to actually go physically. But for people like you, I mean, you might find that remote working is possible, and that will save cost. So why I'm saying this is because these things will have an impact on organizational overheads and other stuff. Organizations are now looking carefully at these options, where travel cost is reduced, where space is not needed, where a lot of support staff, T-boys and peons and those people may not be needed. Not too many security guards, maybe just 1 or 2 people, or maybe outsource that. Then we found that there is a lot of expansion of online business. Lots of things are being done. People are sitting at home, so they have a lot of time. They browse the web, they find different products, they buy them. Gradually, they'll start buying services also. Right now, maybe it is confined to ordering food or ordering some consumer goods, shoes or shirts. But gradually, you may find that you are actually doing a lot of things online. What is number 2? Okay. Large corporations are also rethinking about certain things. Number 1, how do they cope with technological advances? It's not very easy. I mean, you have to actually invest in good technology. It's not that you will just everybody will have a laptop and they'll just be able to manage lots of meetings. You have to actually invest in lots of other gadgets to make sure that large number of people are able to attend meetings, interact with each other, that is recorded also. I mean, and then you might need different types of professionals who are more IT oriented, who are not technically well versed in the field in which you work, but they provide support service. Plus, they've also found that they hired a large number of people, but gradually organizations are finding when you are working from home, you suddenly find that large number of people actually don't work. I mean, very frankly, in organizations, they somehow survive because of the social network of which they are a part. But when you're working online and working from home, then your products are clearly seen. You're not every day in a meeting or in the corridors. You're at home. You're only visible when you send something, when you produce something. That has made organizations realize that there are people who were invisible. They were being paid, but they actually did not produce real work. And this is a fact. This is a fact in every organization, whether it's a World Bank, NESPA, Government of Pakistan. They found that people who work a lot but are not visible, and people who work a little bit but are very visible, there's a difference between them. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you. And you might have experienced that in your, or maybe you are in one of those categories. So I'm sorry for that, but I'm just saying that. Similarly, they found that by older staff, I don't mean people who are very old, but that I mean that people who were not used to the technological revolution and they've been working, now they have to become experts in using this technology, because we may have this pandemic for several years, or even if we don't have it for several years, we'll still be afraid of it or something similar. And organizations will gradually move towards new ways of working, even if there is no pandemic. So how do they reskill people? And this is difficult. I'll give you a simple example from China. It's with the largest country in the world, unless India has beaten it, but so far, let's say it's the largest in the world. You would not believe that they have a huge workforce and they have to reskill 30% of their people, which is a phenomenal exercise, because frankly, automation has changed things so much. And this is a major undertaking for a country like China to reskill their people, as to make them modern day workers who are well versed in technologies. And they're obviously very afraid of this COVID and other things, because they're a huge business giant and they cannot afford having a population which is sitting at home and not technologically advanced. So this is a major thing which they're doing. Number 3. Now, this is something very interesting. Inclusion is essential. So I hope you can see, I mean, yeah. Organizations also found, you know, what was happening before Corona. It was like when you go to a wedding, a large wedding, you see that there are, let's say, 500 people, and out of them, about 40, 50 or 100 are most visible. They are screaming, they're running around, dancing. And there are 400, mostly like me, who sit, they have gone there for lunch or dinner primarily, and they have no other interest in taking photographs and being on the stage. So they just sit on the sides and are watching or looking at WhatsApp or just chatting with each other and waiting. So they are not included in that entire thing. Those 100 people are having fun and 400 people are just sitting. Same is in organizations. What used to happen was that if organizations are making profit, or at least they're not in a loss, then number of people work there. And some of them are marginalized, vulnerable for a variety of reasons, but they're not taken care of. Now, because of COVID, there's a lot of emphasis on, like I told you earlier, that top management found that there were invisible people who worked a lot, and there were visible people who worked little. And there were others who were visible also and worked also. Then they found that there are staff who are from different backgrounds. They have different family circumstances. They have disabilities. They work at lower levels of hierarchy. They come from places which are not very, I mean, posh areas, and They have worked hard, they've studied, but they don't have that social capital to rise in corporation, large corporation. You have to rise in large corporations. You need skills, you need social skills, technical skills. Sometimes technical skills are kept on the side. Only social skills are emphasized. Your network plays a great role. Your larger network, even outside the organization, plays a huge role. But there are people in organizations who are well-meaning, who want to work, but they have their issue. They're single parents, they have other problems, they have sick parents at home. So organizations have started looking at inclusion as a key element now, that these are people who need to be supported, and so that the entire organization becomes a happy organization. Now, this is not true for every organization. I mean, this is an ideal organization. So many organizations are doing it, and large number of organizations do not do this at all. The point I'm making is that in order to have a well-functioning, a happy organization, if you want to have a happy organization, you can also have a very unhappy organization in which you can make large profits. There are a number of organizations in Pakistan where the working environment is terrible, the salary is very good, and the profits are very high, but they have terrible working conditions. And I know people, I have friends who continue working there. They're in a highly abusive environment they work, but they say they need money, and that's it. I mean, they say that it is just like being in a prison where you're paid 10 times what you would get outside. So they are happy to be in a prison. Now look at the last bullet. This is what I mentioned earlier also. What happens in organizations, every organization, it is not Pakistani phenomena. This is a global phenomenon. In organizations, every organization, power circles are created at various levels. There will be a power circle even among the drivers. There will be 2 or 3 drivers who are like the Panne Khans of that organization, and at least at that level. And similarly, the chief executive, managing director, top management, they have their likes and dislikes. They have their small circles of people they trust and rely upon. And some of them are good. The people in those circles, some are not good. But generally, this is how people operate. They don't operate in a very, very participatory manner. This is human nature. This is everywhere almost. In good organizations, the top management does not make it very visible. In other organizations, they make it very visible that these are 3 people who are my closest circle. So then everybody starts either hating those 3 people or trying to be extra nice to those 3 people. This is how, but COVID has broken that totally, because you don't meet physically, you don't go to office, you don't hang around with the boss. So that is not visible anymore. So like I said, now since you are visible through emails and through your virtual meetings, people are making new types of assessments, that who's good and who's not very good. And probably top management and other people will find mechanisms to create power circles within this mode also, but so far it is. I hope you're all keenly listening. And if you have any question, then please feel free to ask in between. I have no problem with that. Let's see number 4. Also, please remember that the consumer class in this world is increasing, and Asia is seeing the greatest rise in the consuming class. The consuming class, there's a different, what does it mean? It means those people who have disposable incomes, who have more income, and who do not live in rural areas where barter system is there, that you will grow some wheat, then you will exchange it for clothes and other goods, or you will give something in return for something like commodity exchange. It's not, but they are working wherever they're working, but they have enough money and they buy consumer goods, refrigerators, air conditioners, TVs, cars, whatever. I mean, more expensive car, even more expensive, an electric vehicle maybe, or something else. And they say that within the next 10 years, 70% of population of Asia, which has almost 1/3, like almost half the world lives here. India and China are there, 2 billion out of 6 billion. 1/3 is divided among these 2 countries. They would become consumer of interest to business community. So Pakistan is also seeing this. By the way, in Pakistan, in case you did not know, till 3-4 years ago, we were the 26th largest economy in the world, which is a very big thing. And not because of the government being rich, but because of a huge size of economy and the money being in the country, but maybe non-documented. But calculations show that you do have a huge gross domestic product and you have huge amounts of monies. They are not distributed properly. Very few people might be very rich and others are not rich, but that is not the issue. The main issue is that it is a country with lots of resources and a lot of money. So people are, they have disposable incomes and they're becoming consumers rapidly. Urbanization is taking place. So those people who migrate from smaller towns to larger, they become consumers. They have huge requirements and they basically. So I've posed a question: what are the priorities of these consumers? If anybody would like to say that, what is this new class and what are they looking forward to, or what sort of consumption patterns would they have? Does anybody want to say something at this stage, or? Okay, maybe we'll, on a later slide, I have another question for you. Maybe we'll do that. So consumer behavior is also changing. Like I told you earlier, that large number of people are now very much used to sitting on their desk or in their bed with a laptop and looking at, and now please don't confuse this with everybody who sleeps on the footpath and lives in a small village. No, they're not doing that. But huge number of people who live in urban areas. Pakistan is rapidly urbanizing. A large number of people have smartphones, even drivers and people who cannot read and write. I made a house last 2 years ago, so I found that electricians, plumbers who cannot read and write, they are using WhatsApp and other things to send pictures and stuff. They know very well how to do that, and with little training, they can do a lot of other things also. So it is a phenomenon. This is happening. So far, this is confined to food, retail, electronics, fashion, maybe some education. You can get online courses done. You want to learn something, you want to learn a new skill, lots of websites. A large number of US universities now offer free online courses. And there's Khan Academy in the USA set up by Pakistani Shahid Khan, which is one of the biggest phenomena in that country, even available here. Then there is a rise of Uber economy. By Uber economy, we mean that people who do not invest in everything which they offer. Those things are managed by others like Airbnb and Careem and Uber. So other people providing your services as a broker, as an interlocutor, as a is managing supply and demand and making money out of that. So that Uber model is happening. Can this model be applied to the engineering consultancy firm? Can you, let's say, can NESPAC do that? Can somebody answer that? Can this thing happen? Would somebody like to, even in the chat mode? Okay, so maybe I can answer. Sorry. Yes, I think there's somebody in the chat. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Generally, somebody said no, then somebody said can be done. But I think large number of engineering consultancy firms in Pakistan, not NESPAC maybe, but others, they use this model, very common model. All consultancy firms have a portfolio. I mean, they have a big file which says 200 people work for them. Or, I mean, they have economists. I mean, people who work at different places, they have got their CVs with them. My CV might also be available with 20 companies, which might be submitting it here and there. So what they do is that they have on panel a large number of people, and if they get a project of a specific nature where they need, so they generally use them. But I'm just saying that this was something which was being done even when I was a student many years ago at UET, Lahore, and we used to go and work with different consultants as students. We found immediately that they had on their panel large number of people when Uber and Kareem did not exist in this world. Even then people were using this. So it's not something very unusual, new. Let's move forward. Now, another thing which is happening is that because people got time during pandemic, they were confined to their homes or offices in limited numbers. They did a lot of research and they found that you can do lots of productivity improvements. And in your entire supply chain, if you apply certain models, this is more specific to people who produce stuff, tangible stuff. But this is another phenomena that lots of supply chain, throughout the supply chain, you can make lots of improvements to save on cost and time. But this is more for industrial, but because I was providing you an economy oversight. So now, then they found another thing. So, and some of them can apply to NESPARK. They found that they have to change their cost structures and adopt new technology. By cost structures, I meant that previously we used to include a lot of overheads for traveling, for office space, then support staff. Lots of those things have reduced a lot. They found, particularly in the service industry, I mean, World Bank and NESPARK, we are all in service industry, which means we produce intellectual ideas. We design things. We do not physically make anything with our own hands. We're not like a factory or industry where you have to physically go to make a Toyota Corolla or a refrigerator. We produce knowledge, or we use previous knowledge to provide solutions to our clients. Maybe they are very standard solutions which are providing to every client, but still we are providing something which is non-tangible. It's not physical work. So you can do it remotely. You can do it at a lesser cost now. People found that out. And I've also found that now there is a lot of, they found that large number of people are available in this world who are highly qualified, but they are in jobs where their potential is not being used. I'll give you an example. I met so many young assistant professors, lecturers in large number of universities in Pakistan who have from extremely prestigious universities of the world. They have learned skills which are unbelievable, but they are just teaching first year and second year students. And those students come from backgrounds where even their basic understanding is so bad that they have to spend time in teaching extremely basic ideas to them. And they are just wasting the time sitting there. Then organizations found that these people can be taken on board as consultants and freelancers who will provide you lots of interesting inputs, which you cannot do through your existing staff all the time. And remember that in all organizations in the world, not NESPARK or World Bank alone, but everywhere, the older you grow in an organization, most of the people find ways of surviving by doing the least amount of work. This is an unfortunate phenomena, but this is everywhere in the world, So you might have heard the term kicked upstairs. So sometimes people are promoted to use positions so that they are unable to stop work at the existing position where they are sitting. And they are given a fancy title, a nice office somewhere, but they are being paid not to do certain, because if they do something in that important position, it is actually counterproductive. So this is a phenomena, people upstairs. This is a very like a phenomena you might have seen in your life also, that this is how it happens. Then organizations found adopting new technologies saves them cost. I told you earlier also that working from home, providing them, World Bank provides us best possible technologies for working from home. We can buy anything, charge it, so that we don't come to office. And we don't say that in my home, I don't have video conferencing facility, my chair is bad. I got backache. No, they say you buy everything you want and charge us because it is peanuts compared to the office space they have to provide me. Similarly, they found that there are lots of new areas in which you can venture and using your existing and some new skills. New skills you bring through either freelancers or you retrain your that staff which is able to adopt new skills. So are there any areas you think where NESPA can enter and explore and make additional amounts or additional profits for the organization? Think of those two sectors. You can mention them in the chat box. We'll see and then later on discuss them. But do think there are areas in which you can enter, I think, which are newer areas, and that would really help you to make even more profits. Now, number 8, the last one. Now, there are some things which are intangible. They're not visible. They don't look important, but they are very important. So this is also what organizations found. There were 4 areas. They found that research is very important. Research does not mean like inventing a TV or refrigerator. Basically, researching the market, new clients, your existing clients and their new needs of the society. Whatever, I mean, research oriented to maximize profits for the organization and to make it more productive and important in society. Because the organizations, if they do not remain important, then they vanish after some time. There is no need for them anymore. And they just cease to exist after a certain period of time. So you have to remain relevant and productive and trustworthy in the market. Otherwise, gradually organizations decay and they are dead after some time. And obviously, like I said, the focus of research would also be new business development. If you have, like many organizations have global offices. By global, I mean, maybe these are small country offices, 2 people sitting in, let's say, Morocco or some African country. What are they doing? Do they get inspiration from their own head office, or are they inspiring the head office? What is happening? This is what also the corona pandemic resulted in, that people started looking carefully at their outposts. What are they doing? What sort of business do they do? Like Pakistan embassies in different countries. We always say that they should be developing business for the country. Whether they can do it or not is a different thing. But this is how people look at outposted staff. Then obviously, all organizations found that there are new categories and classes of clients, and which they had never explored, and they exist, and they are looking for services being provided by organizations like NESPA, by World Bank, by others. So think of some categories and what are those categories? Okay, there's an interesting comment. Yes, very interesting. Salman Shahid Saab, your idea is very interesting. And actually, I was about to suggest something similar to you also. It's good. So I think everybody should look at what Mr. Salman has said. And this is precisely what I'm saying. I mean, I'll tell you something. I'm an architect by training, although I don't practice. Now, there is a moral debate within architects. The moral debate is that can you design and build for your client? And the pure architects, the original architects, the ethics-based architects, whatever you call it, they say, no, we are not contractors. Hum thekedar nahi hai bhai. Nobody pays you for design. Please note that. Nowadays, people are not interested. They will pay huge amounts of money for the marble for their floors, but to an architect, they will say, no, yaar, design fees kya cheez hoti hai? Chodo bhai. So what they do is they do turnkey projects. And I see no problem in it. Rather than having an illiterate or a half-literate contractor trying to understand the drawings and trying to use his own knowledge in apostrophes, which can be dubious knowledge, to build a house for you. Why not somebody who's highly trained to make a house? for you. So this is something we all need to look at and try to find new models of working. Then intellectual property rights, these are very important. You invent something, you design something, you have a prototype of something. Let's suppose NESPARK says, we have come up after research, the design of a 5-marla house or a 5-marla house is something which a lower middle class aspires for, and there are millions of them. And this is energy efficient, low cost, climate conscious, and model and design, and we will get, and we'll bill it for you if you pay us so much, X amount of money, and you'll get thousands of people immediately because your name is good, and if you guarantee timely delivery, people will come. But after Mr. Aladita and company in Chiniot will steal your design next morning, and he will say, I can do it at 30% less cost, and then suddenly millions of people will be offering the same design. Unless you get intellectual property rights for that, a copyright for that, then nobody can do it. Although in Pakistan, still people can do it. But what I'm saying is that many organizations have refocused on intellectual property rights. The idea is that you have spent huge amounts of money in coming up with an idea, then you should hold the rights to that idea, and you should be able to sell that idea in the market. Any questions, any comments? Okay, Ms. Kiran also agrees with Mr. Salman Shahid. So at least 2 people in NESPARK have some interesting ideas so far. So, and I'm sure others also have, but they're not in the chat. Now, the first part is finished, where we talked about how various companies around the world did research and came up with these ideas. Now, we will, there's a lot of research by McKinsey and others who are consultancy firms. And they were hired by different engineering firms, engineering consultancy firms, to come up with ideas. And of course, these are all global ideas. All of them may not apply on Pakistan, but some of them would apply or would at least inspire you. So they came up with many ideas, but 7 of them looked interesting to me. So I picked them up and I thought that I'll present to you. And then it's up to you to see how many of them are relevant to your organization and how many are not. So number 1, which we all know, that they are telling these large engineering consultancy firms that digitization and adoption of technology is now something which you cannot live without. I remember in 1988, I was working in Planning Commission in Pakistan, and USAID donated us desktop computers. They had come for the first time, 1988 or 89. So nobody was allowed to touch them because they were very expensive and nobody knew what is a computer. We didn't even have electric typewriter. We only had manual typewriters, and which the support staff was using. So the officers, I remember I was young and I had come from Japan. So I said, I want to use it. And so my boss said, do you want to become a PA? Apne kya PA lagna hai bada hokar? Ab to officer hai. Why would you like to type something? Typist ka kaam hota hai ye to karna, to aap haath nahi laga sakte. To dar ke mare nahi haath lagaya hum logon ne. 2-3 saal wo pade rahe udhar hi wo. So, but now everybody uses them. You go anywhere in Pakistan, even smallest government office, you'll find level of automation, some level of digitization. Remote work modalities are working fine. Not 100%, maybe 10% of time you can meet personally ideas, but go back, sit in your home or wherever, coffee shop or make a co-work space and do work. Plus this, engineering consultants, they have to strengthen their BIM capability and collaborative tool. Building information modeling, this is something which is being used now, where you can use software which is available for interactive work on same project. It's not that only one person is working. Several people sitting in different locations can work on these projects together as if they are physically present, and they make changes, and these are visible to everybody. So this is something which people are doing. Now, by the way, in this, many people say that work from home has had a negative impact on the mental health of people. But I think that in a country like Pakistan, where that's a Western, I'm really surprised when in the World Bank, staff is writing that, oh, I've got a mental problem because of working at home, and I cannot go out of home, and things like that. But in a Pakistani context, this is totally different. We have so many other social commitments in our lives, taking care of the parents, of the wife, children going to children's school, helping your brother and sister, relatives, attending. I mean, there's so many things you have to do besides work. The people have now found that work from home allows them to start work whenever they want and work whenever they want, work after office hours, before office hours, so that they're able to cover the assigned tasks within those 24 hours, managing their other things also. So this actually helps some people in Asian culture, at least, where they have a lot of South Asian mostly, not by Asia, don't ever think of China and Japan. There are different species. By Asian, we should talk about South Asian, who have similar cultures, where they have lots of socio-cultural commitments in their lives and responsibilities. And they have found that it allows people to decide about their work-life balance themselves, rather than I telling you that, no, you have to work from 9 to 5. Maybe people have to pick their children at 3 o'clock from a school, or they have to drop them at 9 o'clock, and then they reach at 10 o'clock the office. Because of pandemic, obviously, people were not coming to office, so they were able to manage their lives accordingly. So this was something positive which happened. So this is another thing. Organizations are now seeing that they are now focusing on the health of their staff for the first time. Previously, this was not the issue. We didn't have pandemic. So generally people would have flu or maybe some stomach upset 1 or 2 days, and they'll come back, and that was fine, and everybody was working. But now they want to ensure that the health and performance of your staff is maintained at optimal levels. So basically, what happened because of pandemic, when people started working from home, there was a huge concern among those people who were not socially well connected within the organization. What will happen to their jobs? They will not be visible in the office. They will not be seen by the boss in the cafeteria at least once a day, that, okay, this guy has come to work, or early morning in the parking lot to be seen. And they thought, we will be invisible, we will not be there. So what will happen to our jobs? So this is something which organizations are investing in and trying to remove the concerns of people. And then they're also then reskilling the entire workforce. They're providing lots of new tools and skills to people. I attend so many courses and training. When we started these virtual meetings, MS Teams, WebEx, we didn't know what are these things and how do you operate. And even when this session started, I was having a problem in uploading my presentation because we were never used to these things. So they have invested in it. And this is what these firms should do. Now, what is a control tower? We need a highly efficient control tower in every organization, particularly, especially like this NESPA. So what happens is that control tower in an airport, you know very well, those people sitting in the control tower do not fly any plane, but they organize the takeoff and landing of planes in such a manner there is no accident. And everybody, and they have an eye on every flight, every plane, everything which is happening in that airport when it comes to flights. So organizations need to have a control tower in their setup. And this should be looking at each and every cost center in that organization. Who's making money, who's not making money, how we can, now generally what happens is, very frankly, this is a model in every organization, generally, that some cost centers make a lot of money for whatever reason. good reasons, bad reasons, but they make money. And some of them do not make money or cannot make money. And they should make money, but they're not for some reason. Maybe they're not being marketed, they don't have good personnel, there's some other issues, challenges. So the ones who are making money, their money funds other people, and then you have a class system in the organization that, the rich boys and the poor boys, and the ones who are not very rich, the ones who are rich and who are making money, I mean, obviously they are the ladlas of the organization, and they call the shots. And the ones who are not able to, but who have huge potential, but their potential is not capitalized, and less investment is made in them, then they become a liability after some time. Now, this is what the control tower does. Its job is to make sure that you allocate resources properly, but then you invest in making non-profit making cost centers more profitable, for which they have to do research and find what can be done by them, or how can they reorient themselves to do something totally different. So look at the last bullet. We do not invest a lot in new business development, very frankly. Generally, people are very, very comfortable doing what they've been doing all their life. This is organizational, part of organizational DNA. Every organization is like that. NESPAC and others, they're not unique in the world that they're the only ones with issues and challenges and other. Everybody has the same phenomena. People cannot, they're like Titanic, large organizations are like Titanic. They can see that iceberg, but they cannot move in time to avoid hitting it. It will take huge amount of time to change the course of Titanic. So Titanics are not like a bicycle or a motorcycle that you can just within seconds make a S curve and get out of trouble. No, it's not like that at all. So for organizations, these changes are very difficult, and that is where the real efficiency of a control tower comes into action. These are people who will make a solutions group type of entity, which has people from different units who work to identify new business ideas. Next. Now, whatever is your supply chain, obviously you're not doing manufacturing. So your supply chain are various types of consultants and others. But this is primarily more about people who are doing industrial processes, but still we can apply these principles to engineering consultancy firms also. And you must have backups in place. And again, I'm saying that even organizations like World Bank, which used to hire firms to do work, are now finding that if we hire individual consultants, short-term consultants, they're fully dedicated and they're fully available. I'll tell you what is the problem when you hire a firm. Like we used to hire a lot of firms, and we still hire. Obviously, there are things for which. So the people who come and present are extremely good. But then those people are not assigned to the project. Different people start working. A lower level category of people suddenly find that the team leader is sick, has gone abroad, and a new team leader has been brought in by the firm, which is hopeless character. I mean, it creates huge problems. So now what people are saying is that rather than hiring large firms, which is very expensive and you have to pay huge overheads, why don't we hire people, let's say 6 people for 3 months each, who are dedicated, and for better job prospects, they may put in extra amount of work. So I mean, this is one phenomena which is happening and is extremely cost effective and results in quicker turnaround time. Next. Coming to the last 2 or 3 ideas, and then we can open up for question answer session. Now we must, organizations are now trying to redeploy their existing resources. You cannot expand, you cannot hire more people. You have to live with the existing people to make profits. And then once you start making profits, then you expand and hire more. So redeploying is very important. You should redeploy your best staff for new business development, new areas of work. Unless you do that, and you keep it to those who could not perform, then it will be very difficult. So this is something. So look at the last example. So the idea is that you will dedicate your best resource. Remember, wherever you have very good cost centers, their work is happening on auto. Even if you don't deploy your best possible resource, that work is with you. You're working on it. And you're getting that work. So you now try to focus on finding or exploring new areas of work and new ways of doing things and new clients, new category of clients. I'm quite sure NESPARK traditionally was working for the government as a consultant. I assume, I mean, this is the case perhaps, that large number of governmental organizations would come to you. AJK government wants to make a university, so probably they'll come to you. In KP, a very large public sector hospital has to be made, so probably they'll come to you. WAPDA wants to design whatever high tension cables being laid from Karachi to Peshawar. I'm just making it up perhaps, but they'll come to you. But perhaps I will not come to you that I want to make a house, and I won't go to NESPARK, obviously, as a modest client. So I'll perhaps go to a friend who's an architect and a contractor who I know. But if I have to make 100 houses, a colony, maybe again I will not go to NESPARK. But why not? Because I've never looked at you. I've always thought that NESPARK works for the government, and perhaps you're expensive. This is the image in society, perhaps. So you have to redefine images, your perception in the market, your image within society. This is how organizations reorient themselves. Next. Now this is already happening. On-site is gone. I mean, look at the last 9. I'm sure you work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. if you are a consultancy firm, if not 9 to 5, which is generally the norm, but generally in good consultancy firms, hours are very long. But that model is gone. There's no more start and end of anything at all. It is just like the books in your house, novels. There's no time written there that you have to start reading at 8 o'clock. Whenever you want, you can pick that up and start reading. It's absolutely no problem. And I read newspaper later in the day to avoid blood pressure, because if you read in the morning, you might get blood pressure. So there's no need. The past 45 years, 50 years, I've been reading, they're the same news every time. So why read in the morning? I mean, I'm really not excited about that. So this on-site to off-site has happened a lot. Lots of things which you do can be done off-site. You can ask people to develop proposals sitting at their home, design something, work on interactive softwares, do all of those things, and you will reduce waste. You can save on rent costs, support staff, and you will allow people to have flexible lifestyles. And perhaps the last lesson. Yeah, this is most important. You have to know the new breed of clients. There are a lot of changes in, for example, for the past 2 or 3 years, public sector is not fond of spending money. They're reluctant to spend money. We have lots of projects in Pakistan, and I find that the huge reluctance on part of government departments in every federal to provincial to everywhere. They do not want to disburse a large amount. They don't want to procure things. They want to avoid taking decisions. And so avoiding large contracts, and this will also see radical change in the public sector, which means money which is available outside the public sector is also something which you need to capitalize on. So look at bullet number 3. This is what I mentioned earlier, that people become ingrained, normalized in customer preferences, and they want to work with the same type of people, with the same, in the same areas, in the same sectors, with the same approach. Like I just told you, this dilemma, should a consultant only design something and not build it, not do turnkey projects? But why not? I've never understood this thing in my whole life, that, but why not? I mean, if an architect is standing or an engineer is standing and making my house, I'll be extremely happy, more happy than anybody else in the world. Because I know as a professional that what are the issues with these workers when they become in charge of the electricians and the plumbers. They use their own jugaad and everything else, no matter how much you tell them. They will not understand certain things which have changed in the world and new ways of working. So the last bullet is that you have to really, really understand, have a hand on the pulse of new types of clients and understand what are the new and emerging requirements of society, which are of large nature. I mean, society might also have a new trend that they want lots of burgers, but that's not something which NESPAC is doing. They have other requirements also. Society has a lot of requirements. What are the ones which are of direct interest to NESPAC, in which NESPAC can excel and provide services which nobody can provide? I'll give you a simple example. A friend of mine in the World Bank, he made a house and he solarized his entire home. And everything runs on solar energy, air conditioners, everything. He sells electricity to the ISCO, the Islamabad Electric Supply Company. He makes money out of it. But it took him a lot of time to find an extremely good person. But that's only one person. And that company cannot handle a lot of work. And people are not even aware. And the cost, I was surprised, the cost was not much, I mean, compared to what he's getting. Of course, this is 1 million or 1.2, about 1.5 million rupees. But that's frankly, if you never have to pay bills to ISCO, and if you are selling extra energy which you make in the day when you're not at home, and he is getting back in his bill every month a refund, which I was surprised. So this is a huge area. I mean, we're going to have huge energy crisis in this country, and the prices are going to keep on going high because thermal has surpassed hydro many folds, and thermal you cannot afford. You have to import furnace oil and other stuff, and that's a very expensive option. And the line losses, and there's so many other issues and challenges. Even right now, I don't have electricity. I'm just hoping that my laptop doesn't crash before this thing finishes. So in Islamabad, sitting in F10, but since morning there is no electricity. Very common phenomena. So another area, renewable energy, solar energy. I mean, these are areas where nobody is doing anything at scale at all in this country. And credible organizations like NESPAC, which have a huge, a large brand name, which the common man may not know, men and women. But if you come up with these ideas, I mean, you cannot imagine what you would. And if you have a financing scheme with it, with banks and others, and where they pay the initial capital cost, like you go and buy a car on auto loan. Everybody can get an auto loan, and you go there and they'll process the case for you. And even the car companies are facilitating, and you get it. I mean, nobody has that 4 million or 3 million upfront generally. So they take auto loans, and it's good, and they get a new car with them. So last slide. So whatever we discussed, they need ownership at the top level. Whether it's NESPAC, it's World Bank, any other organization, we always need to, these all new ideas and new ways of working need ownership. If there's no ownership at the top level, then you can say goodbye to those ideas. Then next step is that sometimes the top level is highly motivated. The staff is not. And every organization, even World Bank, has cynics. Oh yeah, this is, ye nahi hona bhai, ye aise drama, ye nahi hona kabhi bhi, ye nahi kar sakte hum, wo bhi nahi kar sakte, kuch bhi nahi kar sakte. अच्छा, वो जो लोग हैं ना, उनको आप एक अलग कमरे में बिठा दें, चाय वाय का इंतजाम करें, उनको कहें यही करते रहें सारा दिन, बाकी लोग अपना कोई काम कर लें. ये भी कॉमन है, ये भी किया जाता है कि आप लेकिन आपको स्टाफ को हमेशा बताना होता है और उनको रीट्रेन करना होता है. और सबसे बड़ी बात ये होती है कि पीपल, पहला क्वेश्चन होता है, यार ये जो कर रहे हैं ये बंदे निकालने हैं. अभी ये छांटी का प्रोग्राम शुरू हो गया नया, ये जो ना रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन, न्यू वेज ऑफ वर्किंग, न्यू सेक्टर्स, ये निकालेंगे बंदों को. भाई किसी को नहीं निकालना. आप पहले दिन ऐलान कर दें, एक बंदा नहीं निकलेगा. or but you provide opportunities to everybody to participate in those new ways of working. They still cannot, then obviously, but so ये भी एक essential element होता है. So I think that is it, and so I'll just finish here. And now, if you have any questions, queries, I think I can turn off this. Yeah.
In case of any questions and queries, please, you can use the raise hand option in Zoom, or you can use the chat box. Here we have a question. Okay, your suggestion.
Acha. So interesting. I found a remark that two things. एक तो अली शेर साहब ने कहा कि नेस्पा के ओवरहेड्स 89%, so which is quite high. And secondly, एक किसी ने कहा कि जी आप रियल स्टेट में हमें इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. अच्छा, वो थोड़ा सा जो रियल स्टेट वर्ड है ना, वो थोड़ा सा पाकिस्तान में उसको वो मलिक रियाज टाइप के ऑपरेशंस को समझा जाता है जैसे बड़ी बुरी चीज है ये, और गुनाह कबीरा है कि आप ये ना कहिए, आप ये कहिए कि नेस्पाक शुड enter into an area where you do turnkey projects, let's say building projects which are highly energy efficient, climate resilient. कोई उसके साथ अच्छी चीजें लगाए ना, लो कॉस्ट है, वो न्यू मटेरियल्स इंडिजिनस यूज करती है, उसके अंदर बहुत सारे क्वालिफायर्स लगा के करना, जो बजाय ये कहने के जी हम आपको स्पेनिश विला बना के दे रहे हैं, चाहे वो स्पेनिश है या नहीं, बस एक रंग बिरंगी चीज बना के दे रहे हैं. और I think this will be something which will be a great service, क्योंकि कोई ऐसा नहीं है क्रेडिबल एंटिटी पाकिस्तान में जो इस किस्म के डिजाइन्स वगैरह बना के ना मार्केट कर रही है. और आप ट्रैक्ट्स ऑफ लैंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, जो आप लेके वहाँ सोसाइटीज बना सकते हैं जो सारी की सारी सोलर एनर्जी पे चलती हैं, रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग होती है, जितनी भी टेक्नोलॉजीज दुनिया में यूज हो रही हैं جو کلائمیٹ چینج کے ساتھ ایسوسیٹڈ ہیں, کہ کلائمیٹ ریزیلینس پیدا کرنے کے لیے سوسائٹیز میں, کہ آپ رین واٹر ہارویسٹنگ کریں گے, جو گرے واٹر ہے جو سینک کا اور کچن کا ہے اس کو ریسائیکل کر کے گارڈننگ میں یوز کریں گے. بہت ساری چیزیں آپ کر سکتے ہیں, اور لینڈز لے کے اس کے اوپر ہی کر سکتے ہیں. آلدو obviously آپ کے پاس اتنا بڑا الیکٹریکل ڈویژن ہے, میکینیکل ہوگا, دوسرا ہوگا, وہ تو ایک علیحدہ ایریاز ہیں, وہ بھی اس ایریا میں آ سکتے ہیں. سولر اس کے اوپر بہت زیادہ آپ انویسٹ کر سکتے ہیں. دیر از اے ہیوج مارکیٹ آؤٹ دیئر. پاکستان میں آپ کو ہاؤسنگ شارٹیج کے کبھی آپ ڈیٹا پڑھیں نا تو آپ حیران ہو جائیں گے کہ یہ ایک بیرن ایریا ہے, لیکن اس کے اندر ڈوبیس انویسٹرز کی بھرمار ہے. اسلام آباد ایئرپورٹ کے آس پاس یہ ممتاز سٹی, بلو ورلڈ سٹی, سارے فیک سوسائٹیز بنی ہوئی ہیں, رنگ برنگی, کوئی لینڈز نہیں ہے ان کے پاس. انہوں نے ہیوج بورڈز لگائے ہوئے ہیں, یہ بلینز لوگوں سے لے لیتے ہیں. لوگ ڈیسپریٹ ہیں اس چیز کے لیے, اور وہ لوگ ڈیسپریشن میں ان کے پاس جاتے ہیں. لوگوں کو شیلٹر چاہیے پاکستان میں بہت زیادہ ڈیسپریٹلی. وہ شیلٹر کی وجہ سے ہی لوگوں کی اکانومیز, گھروں کی جو ہاؤس ہولڈ بجٹس تباہ ہوئے ہوئے ہیں, جو رینٹس دے دے کے جو ہے, اور رینٹ بھی نہیں ملتا, پھر نکال دیتے ہیں ان کو, دور دور رہتے ہیں, وہ کوالٹی آف لائف نہیں ہوتی ان جگہوں پر. تو یہ بہت بڑا ایریا ہے جس میں آپ کام کر سکتے ہیں. دس اے ویری انٹرسٹنگ ایریا. اس میں آپ جو ہے نا اپنی تمام سولر انرجی کی اپلیکیشنز ہیں, الیکٹریکل, میکینیکل, سول, یہ ساری اپنی جو ایکسپرٹیز ہیں اس کو آپ ڈپلوائے کر سکتے ہیں ٹو کریٹ ماڈل ہیومن سیٹلمنٹس آف ماڈرن اسکیل, 1000-2000 گھروں والی, جس کے اندر انٹرسٹنگ چیزیں آپ بنا سکتے ہیں. ساری اپلائی کر سکتے ہیں تمام جو ماڈرن ٹیکنالوجیز ہیں اور ایڈوانسمنٹس ہیں ایریاز کے اندر, یوزنگ انڈیجنس مٹیریل. یہ بہت بڑا ایک پوٹینشیل ہے. اچھا, ایک صاحب نے کہا کہ ہم ایک انجینئرنگ یونیورسٹی, بھائی انجینئرنگ یونیورسٹیاں تو اتنی بن گئی ہیں. میرے دوست ہیں وہ بڑے قریبی, وہ رجسٹرار ہیں پاکستان انجینئرنگ کاؤنسل کے. تو اتنی انجینئرنگ یونیورسٹیز ہیں, اور اس میں سے جو لوگ نکل رہے ہیں وہ کہاں جائیں گے, وہ کہاں پہ جاب کریں گے. یہ مجھے اس کا بڑا خطرہ ہوتا ہے کئی دفعہ کہ اتنے لوگ نکل رہے ہیں, جتنے بھی نکل رہے ہیں وہ کہاں, ان کی جو کنزمپشن ہے اس وقت وہ کون سے, کیونکہ ہم ہائیلی انڈسٹریلائز کنٹری نہیں ہے نا. ہم یا تو وہ ہوتا ہے نا کہ بہت انڈسٹریز لگ رہی ہیں, بہت بڑے بڑے پبلک ورک پروگرام ہو رہے ہیں, پاور ڈسٹریبیوشن کے بڑے بڑے پروجیکٹس ہو رہے ہیں, بریجز بن رہے ہیں جن میں ہزاروں لاکھوں لوگوں کو, بڑی بڑی روڈز بن رہی ہیں پشاور سے کراچی, یا پورا ری ویمپنگ آف دا الیکٹرسٹی ڈسٹریبیوشن سسٹم ہو رہا ہے ہمارا, اور ہم جو ہے اس کو کہہ رہے ہیں کہ جس کو ہم اپ گریڈ کر رہے ہیں سارے کو, وہ نہیں ہو رہا نا. تو اگر وہ ہو رہا ہوتا تو ہم ساری جگہوں پہ لگ جاتے. لوگ جو ہیں, جب ہم لوگ پڑھتے تھے UET لاہور میں, تو لوگ تو 3rd ایئر میں ہوتے تھے یا 4th ایئر میں, تو آلموسٹ جاب ان کی سیکیور ہوتی تھی کہ کہیں نہ کہیں وہ جہاں لگنا ہوتا تھا وہ لگ جائیں گے جا کے. وہ اور ایرا تھا. ابھی دوسرا ایرا آ گیا ہے. تو اس میں تھوڑا سا مجھے, ہاں, if you say you will make an engineering university which focuses totally on those technologies which will be very very indigenous, and اور اس کے اندر وہ نئی جو یہ چیزیں جتنی اب فیلڈز ہیں ابھی اس میں آپ اسپیشلائز کریں گے, then it might be or it might be an institution where you retrain graduate engineers to learn new skills. تو پھر تو شاید کچھ ٹھیک ہے. اچھا, پھر آپ نے کہا کہ جی ہم جو ٹیکنالوجیز لیتے ہیں نا دوسرے ملکوں سے, بڑا ہمیں قرضہ چڑھے. نہیں بھائی, نہیں, اس طرح نہیں ہے. میں آپ کو ابھی بتا دیتا ہوں. دنیا میں اصل میں ہم ہمیشہ دیکھتے ہیں امریکہ اور انگلینڈ کو, اس کو نہیں دیکھ سکتے نا آپ. ابھی 1990 میں یا 91 میں جب میں گورنمنٹ میں کام کرتا تھا, اس وقت تو انٹرنیٹ وغیرہ چیزیں ہوتی نہیں تھیں, فون بھی نہیں ہوتا تھا. لینڈ لائن ادھر سے ادھر کرنے کے لیے بھی آپ کو 6 دفتروں میں جانا ہوتا تھا, وہ تو اور ہی زمانہ تھا. تو اس وقت ہم نے دنیا بھر میں ایڈز دیے کہ ہم رینیوبل انرجی پہ پاکستان کچھ کرنا چاہتے ہیں نا. وہ بے نظیر پرائم منسٹر تھی, تو انہوں نے کہا کہ ایک رپورٹ بنائیں. کہ آپ حیران ہو جائیں گے, سائپرس سے, برازیل سے, گریس سے, بے شمار ملک ہیں دنیا میں جو بہت انہوں نے کام کیا ہے, اور وہ بہت لو کاسٹ پہ یہ ٹیکنالوجی ٹرانسفر کرتے ہیں. وہ آپ کو ساری کی ساری وہ آپ کے ساتھ کولیبریٹو کام کرتے ہیں, اور بڑی انٹرسٹنگ چیزیں. اس زمانے میں بھی 30 سال پہلے جب یہ کوئی فیلڈ کو جانتا بھی نہیں تھا, دنیا بہت آگے جا چکی تھی چھوٹے چھوٹے ملکوں میں, اور بہت دنیا تیار ہے اس وقت بہت کچھ کرنے کے لیے. اس میں بہت ٹیکنالوجیز اویلیبل ہیں. تو ہمیں وہ یہ نہیں ہوتا کہ ہر چیز کے لیے F-16 خریدنا ہے. آپ نے اگر کراچی سے لاہور جانا ہے نا, یا آپ نے 4 مرغیاں مارنی ہے, وہ F-16 نہیں چاہیے ہوتا اس کے لیے کبھی بھی. تو اس لیے ہمیں یہی میں آپ کو بار بار کہہ رہا ہوں کہ آپ کو انڈیجنس لو کاسٹ ان چیزوں کا اگر نہیں سوچیں گے نا تو پھر تو سوچنے کا فائدہ ہی کوئی نہیں ہے کہ وہ تو پھر آپ ویسے بھی آپ وہ کلائنٹیئر ایک اور ہے، وہ ایک اور مارکیٹ ہے، وہ پھر اس میں آپ لوگ نہیں آتے کہیں بھی دور دور. آئی ایم ٹاکنگ آف ماسز، لارج نمبر آف پیپل. مڈل کلاس جو لوور سے اپر میں جا رہی ہے، اپر مڈل کلاس سے وہ لوور رچ کلاس میں جا رہی ہے، وہ بہت پوٹینشیل ہے وہاں، بہت پیسے ہیں لوگوں کے پاس، اور اس میں بہت آپ کام کر سکتے ہیں اس کے اندر. یہ کسی نے پوچھا ہاؤ مینی لیڈ سرٹیفائی آرکیٹیکٹس ان نیسپا، یہ مجھے تو نہیں پتا، مجھ سے پوچھ رہے ہیں کیا، یہ آپس میں ایک دوسرے سے پوچھ رہے ہیں؟ ہاں یہ بڑا اچھا لکھا ہے نا سلمان صاحب، جو آپ نے ڈیٹا ریپوزیٹری کی بات کی ہے نا، ابھی ورلڈ بینک کے اندر جو ہے وہ اس طرح کیا ہم نے. اب ہم بڑا ہیوج، آلدو اس کے لیے پوری ٹریننگ کرنی پڑتی ہے، وہ ایکسیس کرنا نا اس ڈیٹا بیس کو، وہ بھی ایک مصیبت ہے بہت بڑی، کیونکہ یو ہیو ٹو بی ریئلی ویل ورسڈ ان انڈرسٹینڈنگ کہ آپ کی سرچ ہے کیا، وہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہے ہیں آپ. پہلے تو آسان ہوتا تھا نا، فزیکل ریکارڈ ہوتا تھا، آپ کسی بندے کو جو وہاں 20 سال سے کام کر رہا ہے بیچارہ محمد ریاض، جو پروموٹ بھی نہیں ہوتا 20 سال، لیکن اسے پتا ہوتا ہے کون سی فائل کہاں ہے، وہ ڈھونڈ لیتا ہے کہیں نہ کہیں سے. ابھی تو وہ سب ڈیجیٹائز ہو گئی چیزیں. اب ہمیں ڈیٹا ریپوزیٹری جب تک آپ نہیں بنائیں گے نا اپنی پراپر قسم کی، اچھا یہ بڑا یہ انویسٹمنٹ بڑی ہیوی ہوتی ہے کہ آپ اپنی سرچیبل ڈیٹا بیس، کئی آرگنائزیشن نہیں بھی بنانے چاہتی ہیں اس کو فار ویرائٹی آف ریزن، لیکن آپ کے پاس یہ بہت ضروری ہے کہ جتنا بھی ریکارڈ ہے نا آپ کا، اور اس پہ جتنا بھی انویسٹ کر سکتے ہیں وہ کم ہے. اس سے آپ کو ریموٹ ورکنگ میں بہت فائدہ ہوتا ہے. جس سے میں بار بار کہہ رہا ہوں نا کہ آپ unless you are physically going اور providing hands on service to somebody، جیسے آپ ڈینٹسٹ ہوں تو پھر تو چلو میں کہہ سکتا ہوں کہ ریموٹلی نہیں نکل سکتا وہ دانت کسی کا، وہ آپ کو جانا ہی پڑے گا اس کے پاس، یا ڈینٹسٹ آپ کے پاس آئے گا. تو بہت ساری چیزوں میں تو یہ نہیں ہو سکتا، لیکن جس طرح کے کام ہم کرتے ہیں، آپ لوگ کرتے ہیں، ہم تو ساری نالج کے ساتھ کھیل رہے ہوتے ہیں نا سارا دن بیٹھ کے، کہ اس کو کیسے ڈپلوائے کرنا ہے، اس کو مینیپولیٹ کرنا ہے، کوئی چیز کریٹ کرنی ہے، ڈیزائن کرنی ہے، وہ بہت طریقے ہیں اس کے ریموٹلی. اور اس کے لیے لیکن آپ کے پاس سینٹرل یہ سسٹم بہت ضروری ہے کہ آپ ریفر کر سکیں گے پہلے کیا کیا تھا، وہاں پہ کیا لکھا تھا، اسٹینڈرڈ کانٹریکٹس بنے ہوئے ہوں لیگلی ویٹڈ، تاکہ آپ کو ہر دفعہ نئے اسکریچ سے نہیں ٹائپ کرنا پڑے اور بنانا پڑے. یہ بہت ضروری ہے. ایگریڈ. اور کسی کا کوئی اگر آئیڈیا ہے تو بتائیے. بالکل ٹھیک ہے نا، ڈیٹا بیس کا بہت ضروری ہے. یہ مشکل کام ہے جو آپ بتا رہے ہیں نا، یہ ڈیٹا بیسز والا، یہ ہوتا کافی کمپلیکس ہے، یہ اتنا ایزی نہیں ہے. لیکن میرا خیال ہے اس پہ انویسٹ کرنے سے آپ کا فیوچر میں جو ہے نا بہت زیادہ. اب پرابلم کیا ہوتا ہے نا کہ انڈر وین یو آر فیسنگ اکنامک ایشوز تو لوگ زیادہ تر ان چیزوں میں نہیں انویسٹ کرتے. اور اچھا ایک ثناء اللہ عوان صاحب نے پوچھا ہے کہ بھائی اسکلس فار انجینئرز ٹو ورک ایفیشینٹ ڈیورنگ کووڈ میں، اسپیشل کورسز ٹریننگ. اچھا یہ بہت سارے نا آن لائن اگر آپ سرچ کریں گے، اس میں ہوتا کیا ہے، سب سے بیسک کیا چیز ہوتی ہے، بیسک چیز سب سے وہ تو یہ ہوتا ہے کہ جس طرح ہم نے بھی کیا تھا کہ یہ ایم ایس ٹیمز اور جتنے بھی نا ویب ایکس، یہ جو ورچوئل میٹنگ سافٹ ویئرز ہیں، ہم ساروں نے یہ اس کی چھوٹے چھوٹے ایک گھنٹے کے کورسز کیے. اس وقت ہمیں یہ بیسکس نہیں پتہ تھے کہ کیا ہوتا ہے، اپنی سلائڈز کیسے شیئر کرتے ہیں، ریکارڈنگ کیسے کرتے ہیں، لوگوں کو ایڈ کیسے کرنا ہے، میوٹ کیسے کرنا ہے، یہ سارا ہم نے سیکھی. یہ تو بہت سمپل سی چیز تھی. پھر BIM تک آپ چلے جاتے ہیں نا کہ ہم انٹریکٹیو سافٹ ویئر کے تھرو جو ہے وہ ایز اے ٹیم اگر فرض کریں ملٹی سیکٹورل ٹیم ہے جو کام کر رہی ہے ایک پروجیکٹ کے اوپر, خالی آرکیٹکٹس نہیں ہیں, انجینئرز بھی ہیں, الیکٹریکل کے بھی لوگ ہیں, سول کے بھی ہیں, میکینیکل کی بھی ہیں, اس کے اندر وہ اپنی اپنی لوکیشنز کے ساتھ وہ کیسے ایک ہی اس کے اوپر ڈیزائن کے اوپر کام کر رہے ہوتے ہیں, وہ نظر آ رہا ہوتا ہے سب کو اپنے اپنے گھروں میں بیٹھے ہوئے یا آفیسز میں. وہ ٹریننگ آپ کو لینی پڑتی ہے, وہ اچھی ٹریننگ ہوتی ہے جو آپ کر لیتے ہیں تو آپ کو بہت فائدہ ہوتا ہے. اس طرح ہم جب ہم ورلڈ بینک میں پروجیکٹس وغیرہ ڈیزائن کرتے ہیں, ایک ڈاکومنٹ پہ کیسے 3-4 لوگ بیٹھ کے کام اکٹھا کر سکتے ہیں, ڈفرینٹ لوکیشنز میں ایڈٹ کر سکتے ہیں, اپنے چینجز دیکھ سکتے ہیں, کس نے کیے ہیں, کب کیا, کیوں کیا, وہ ساری آپ دیکھ سکتے ہیں, اور وہ کوئکلی کام ہو جاتا ہے ایک ہی وقت میں بیٹھ کے, کیونکہ اب ٹریولنگ اور یہ ساری جو ہے نا یہ بہت ریسٹرکشنز کی وجہ سے لوگ ڈفرینٹ لوکیشنز میں بیٹھ کے جو ہے وہ کر رہے ہوتے ہیں اس کام کو, تو یہ اس کی ٹریننگ لینی بہت ضروری ہوتی ہے. تو یہ کچھ 3-4 ایسی چیزیں جو آپ پلس فردر آپ جتنا بھی اس کے اندر آپ ریسرچ کریں تو آپ کو نظر آ جائیں گے, بے شمار سکلز ابھی اویلیبل ہیں یہ آن لائن, لیکن یہ 2-3 میجر سکلز ہیں جو آپ سیکھتے ہیں نا. جیسے آپ دیکھیں نا یہ ٹریننگ بھی ہم I don't know whether you are all sitting physically together یا you are all in different locations, لیکن at least I am not sitting there, so it is possible نا. پہلے تو یہ ہم نہیں سوچ سکتے تھے یہ باتیں اس زمانے میں, آج سے 3-4-5 سال پہلے تو یہ بہت ہی مشکل ہوتا تھا کہ, اور اگر کرتے بھی تھے ہم کہ جی آج چلیں ہماری میٹنگ میں جرمنی سے ایک صاحب بھی پارٹیسپیٹ, تو ہم ویڈیو کانفرنسنگ کے لیے بھاگ رہے ہوتے تھے اور وہ کبھی سگنل اسکائپ پہ کرنے کی کوشش کرتے تھے نا, اسکائپ ہوتا تھا وہ کبھی بھی کام نہیں کرتا تھا اینڈ موقع پر. تو اب تو یہ ٹیکنالوجی بہت آگے چلی گئی ہے, اب تو فالٹ ہی نہیں ہوتا اس کے اندر. اور کوئی کہنا چاہیں اگر؟ ٹھیک, حسین صاحب نے بھی لکھا کہ اچھا اوبیسلی دیکھیں یہ جو دفتر نہ جاننا ہوتا ہے نا کہ اس کے نیگیٹو امپیکٹس بھی ہوتے ہیں نا. اوبیسلی آہستہ آہستہ آپ کو نہ جانے کی عادت پڑ جاتی ہے, سست بھی ہو سکتے ہیں, دیر سے اٹھنا شروع کر دیتے ہیں لوگ. پہلے مجھے یاد ہے ہم بڑی جلدی اٹھا کرتے تھے ڈیلی کہ دفتر جانا ہے ٹائم پر, اب آرام سے اٹھتے ہیں. پہلی میٹنگ ہی 10 بجے شروع ہوتی ہے, ایک دوسرے سے سب نے پیکٹ کیا ہوا ہے کہ صبح صبح نہیں رکھیں گے, آرام سے اٹھیں, اور تیار بھی نہیں ہوتے, ایسے ہی ایک کوٹ رکھا ہوتا ہے ہر ایک نے جو پہن لیتا ہے سلیپنگ سوٹ کے اوپر, وہ میٹنگ شروع کر دیتا ہے. تو کچھ عرصے بعد آپ بالکل لیزی بھی بن سکتے ہیں. تو کبھی کبھی جلدی بھی اٹھ جانا چاہیے اور تیار ہونا چاہیے, کیونکہ اور اچھا پلس سم پیپل مس دیئر کولیگس, جن سے اچھی ریزن سے بھی مس کر سکتے ہیں نا. یہ تھوڑی ہے کہ سازشیں کریں گے جا کے, آپ کوئی اچھی بات ان سے ڈسکس کرنا چاہتے ہیں, یو انجوائے دیئر کمپنی, آپ جاتے ہیں چائے وائے اکٹھے پیتے ہیں بیٹھ کے دفتر میں اور وہ گپ شپ لگا لیتے ہیں, تو ایک ریجوینیٹ ہو جاتے ہیں آپ کئی دفعہ. اور اس کے اندر جو ہے وہ اچھا بائی دا وے ایک یہ بھی انٹرسٹنگ تھا, وہ میں نے آپ یہاں پہ سلائیڈ میں اس لیے ڈالا کہ وہ تھوڑا سا عجیب سی چیز تھی. وہ یہ تھی کہ ہاں جو پریزنٹیشن کی کاپی میں نے آپ کے HR والوں کو دے دی, اگر آپ وہ شیئر کرنا چاہیں تو آپ دے سکتے ہیں سب کو. اچھا وہ ایک انٹرسٹنگ چیز یہ پتہ چلی کہ پوری دنیا صرف پاکستان میں نہیں, پہلے میں سوچتا تھا یہ صرف پاکستان میں ہوتا ہے, وہ یہ ہے کہ جو جتنا بھی اسٹاف کام کرتا ہے آرگنائزیشن میں وہ زیادہ تر جب وہ چائے پہ اور کھانے پہ ملتے ہیں نا تو وہ باسز کی برائیاں کرتے ہیں بیٹھ کے خوب, اور آرگنائزیشن کی بڑی سی بڑی آرگنائزیشن چھوٹی چھوٹی سب بیٹھ کے برائیاں کرتے ہیں. اچھا اس کا کوئی مطلب نہیں تھا, اس برائی کا کوئی برا میننگ نہیں ہوتا, یہ بس ایک ہیومن نیچر ہے کہ وہ باسز کی برائی کرنا. سارے باس خراب ہیں, اگر اچھے بھی ہیں تب بھی کوئی نہ کوئی ان کو خرابی ضرور ڈھونڈ لینا, اور بہت کم کی اچھائی بیان کرنا ان کی ایبسنس میں. اور یہ ایک نیچرل پروسیس ہے, جس طرح ہم گرمی میں سویٹ کرتے ہیں نا, پسینہ آتا ہے, وہ ایک نیچرل ہے خدا کی طرف سے کہ تاکہ آپ کی صحت ٹھیک رہے. یہ بھی ایک نیچرل فینومینا ہے کہ آپ کی مینٹل ہیلتھ ٹھیک رہے. بس آپ تھوڑی بہت برائی کر دیتے ہیں, پھر جا کے کام شروع کر دیتے ہیں, پھر وہی باس ملتا ہے تو اسے سلوٹ بھی مارنا شروع کر دیتے ہیں. تو یہ ایک اسٹڈی نے پتہ کیا کہ چونکہ لوگ اب دفتروں میں نہیں آتے تو ورچوئل میٹنگز ہو رہی ہیں تو سارے بڑے پولائٹ ہوتے ہیں, ورچوئل میٹنگس، کیونکہ انہیں ٹائم ہی نہیں ملا ہوتا کہ ملتے اور برائیاں کرتے تھے. چونکہ وہ بہت عرصے بعد ملتے ہیں تو اچھی باتیں کر رہے ہوتے ہیں. وہ ہوتا ہے نا جس طرح جو رشتے دار دور دراز رہتے ہیں آپ ان سے جب ملتے ہیں تو بڑے اچھے ملتے ہیں، اور جن لوگوں کے ساتھ روزانہ رہتے ہیں ان سے روز لڑ رہے ہوتے ہیں. تو یہ ہیومن نیچر ہے کہ جہاں آپ ڈیلی ملتے ہیں اور ڈیلی جن کو دیکھتے ہیں ان کے بارے میں برائیاں شروع کر دیتے ہیں، اور جن کو نہیں ملے ہوتے نہیں دیکھا ہوتا تو ان کو جب ملتے ہیں تو آپ کو نئے لوگ لگتے ہیں، تو وہ آپ ریلیشن شپ بلڈ کرنے والے فیز میں چلے جاتے ہیں اسی وقت، تو آپ ٹھیک ہو جاتے ہیں اس وقت. تو یہ انہوں نے نوٹ کیا کہ اس سے بھی لوگوں کو جو ہے نا وہ کچھ لوگوں کو وہ یہ جو اپرچونیٹی نہیں ملتی نا دفتر جانا اور بیٹھنا اور گوسپ کرنا، اس سے بھی ان کی صحت خراب ہونا شروع ہوئی کچھ لوگوں کی. تو یہ بھی انٹرسٹنگ، یعنی بہت سارے لوگ اسٹڈی کرتے ہیں مختلف فنومیناز کو، تو وہ یہ بھی ایک انہوں نے پوائنٹ نکالا. اچھا، ضیاء الدین سلمان صاحب، آپ نے بڑا اچھا انٹرسٹنگ انداز میں لکھا ہے، بہت ہی زبردست طریقے سے لکھا ہے. اس میں جو لفظ سیکریفائز ہے وہ بڑا اچھا ہے. تو لیکن اس میں دیکھیں یہ آرگنائزیشنل ڈیسیجن ہے. آپ کو یہ جو ڈیسیجنز ہوتے ہیں نا بڑے بڑے کارپوریٹ لیول کی ہوتے ہیں، اس میں ریسورس ایلوکیٹ کرتے ہیں اور اب ایکسپرٹس کو لے کر آتے ہیں، اور ساری آرگنائزیشن کو ابھی بھی وہ مجھے بار بار الرٹ آ رہا ہے کہ وہ ورلڈ بینک کی جو ڈیٹا ریپوزیٹری کے اندر ڈیپر ڈائیو کرنے کے لیے انرول کریں، لیکن وہ ڈر کے مارے نہیں کر رہا. بہت ہی بڑی ڈائیو ہوتی ہے، وہ اتنا انرجی لگانے کا جو ہے نا مجھے شوق نہیں اس وقت، لیکن شاید میں وہ کروں. تو یہ آپ کو بہت زیادہ نا اس پہ انویسٹ کرنا پڑتا ہے. اس کا لانگ ٹرم بہت بڑا فائدہ ہوتا ہے، بہت بڑا فائدہ ہوتا ہے کہ آرگنائزیشن ہائیلی ایفیشینٹ ہو جاتی ہے. آپ کو بیٹھے بٹھائے ایک تکلیف تو ہوتی ہے وہ تھوڑی سی، لیکن ہم سب نے تکلیفیں اٹھائی ہیں نا، تبھی ہم یہاں پہنچے سارے. اگر ہم نہ جاتے یونیورسٹیوں میں، نہ پڑھتے، راتیں نہ لگاتے، اسائنمنٹس کے لیے پاگل نہ ہو رہے ہوتے، تو بس بیٹھے ہوتے تو آلتو فالتو کام کرتے، یہ نہ اٹینڈ کر رہے ہوتے اور بس ادھر ادھر کی باتیں کر رہے ہوتے جس کا کوئی فائدہ نہیں سوسائٹی. تو یہ ساری چیزیں تو آپ کو لازمی کرنی پڑتی ہیں. یہ آرگنائزیشن ہے، اور اس میں تو اب اس کے لیے آپ کی جو ٹریننگ ونگ ہے وہی آبویسلی میرا خیال ہے کہ آپ کو ایک ٹریننگ آرگنائز کرنی چاہیے اپنے اسٹاف کے لیے، کہ جو بیسکس ہوتے ہیں نا، کہ آرگنائزیشن جب لارج آرگنائزیشن لائک نیسپاک جن کا ڈیٹا پھیلا ہوا ہے اوور دا ایئرز اینڈ اوور ڈفرنٹ پلیسز، اس سارے کو کس طرح کیٹیگرائز کیا جائے، کیٹالاگ کیا جائے، آن لائن ڈیجیٹائز کیا جائے، اور کون سا اسٹاف کو پاسورڈ پروٹیکٹڈ شیئرنگ رائٹس دیے جائیں. ڈفرنٹ لیولس پہ ڈفرنٹ رائٹس آپ دیتے ہیں نا. بس ضروری نہیں ہے کہ جتنے کانٹریکٹس آپ نے سائن کیے ہوئے ہیں ملینز آف ڈالر کی بڑی بڑی وہ ساروں کے پاس اویلیبل ہوں ان کی کاپیاں، وہ ضروری نہیں ہے، وہ چند لوگوں کے پاس ایکسیس ہونی چاہیے. لیکن بہت ساری چیزوں کی ایکسیس سب کے پاس ہونی چاہیے آن لائن جو ہے. بہت سارے آرگنائزیشن میں ان کے سروس رولز ہیں اور وہ ایسی چیزیں ہیں، پالیسیز ہیں، وہی نہیں آن لائن ہوتی، وہ فزیکلی بھی نہیں ملتی، نہ کسی کے پاس ہوتی ہیں. تو وہ یہ ساری چیزیں آن لائن ہونی چاہیے. اس طرح آرگنائزیشن کلچر جو ہے نا بہت امپروو ہو جاتا ہے. And people feel to be a part of that entity as a family. اچھا ثناء اللہ صاحب، آپ نے پوچھا ہے کہ ایکسیپشنل سرکمسٹانسز تھے اس میں ہماری پالیسی چلی. یہ جو میں نے آپ کو بتایا نا کہ جو کورونا کی وجہ سے ہم نے لوگوں نے ایکسٹرا پریکاشنز لی اور ایکسٹرا آرڈنری ویز آف ورکنگ ڈیولپ کی. یہ اب کورونا فرض کیجیے ہمیشہ کے لیے ختم ہو جائے نا، اور اب وہ اعلان کر دیں کہ جی اب دنیا میں نہیں رہا، تب بھی لوگوں کو اس کا ایک چسکا پڑ گیا ہے اس طریقے سے کام کرنے کا. ابھی دوبارہ نہیں جا سکتے واپس آپ اس سسٹم کے اندر جو ٹریڈیشنل تھا. بہت ساری آرگنائزیشن جو ہے نا وہ انہیں پتہ چل گیا ہے، جو لوگ بڑی آرگنائزیشن میں کاسٹ سینٹرز کو مینیج کرتے ہیں انہوں نے یہ دیکھ لیا کہ اوور ہیڈز کم کرنے کے طریقے بہت ان کو سمجھ آ رہے. ابھی پہلے زمانے میں ہوتا تھا ہم 6-7 لوگ نا 4 دن کراچی چلتے ہیں، لاہور چلتے ہیں، بس جا رہے ہیں، ٹھہر رہے ہیں، کھا رہے ہیں، پی رہے ہیں، میٹنگیں کر رہے ہیں، واپس آ رہے ہیں. وہ بڑے مین آورس لگ جاتے تھے، مین اینڈ وومن آورس جس کو کہتے ہیں. ابھی آپ نے دیکھ لیا کہ وہ ایک आधा दफा शायद अब चले जाए, उसके बाद ऑनलाइन बहुत हम सारा वक्त गवर्नमेंट के साथ जो है, यानी मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ बलूचिस्तान गवर्नमेंट के जो आप सोचते होंगे कि वहाँ तो शायद हर जगह टेक्नोलॉजी लगी हुई है, जीबी के साथ एचए के साथ हम सारों ने वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस सिस्टम बेहतरीन लगा ली, हर वक्त उनके साथ इन टच रहते हैं, और वो भी रहते हैं हमारे साथ व्हाट्सएप। तो ये चीज़ें जो है ना, ये पार्ट ऑफ कल्चर बन जाती है कुछ अरसे के बाद। और अब मैं आपको बताऊं, एग्जांपल देता हूं 2-3। जब सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर हुई ना, और फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर जो 1914-15 और फिर 1940-42 में, उससे पहले इंग्लैंड में, यूरोप में नौकर होते थे लोगों के पास। सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद क्योंकि मिलियंस लोग मर गए थे, खत्म हो गया वो, देयर वाज नो, अब कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है कि किसी में ड्राइवर या नौकर हो, है ही नहीं कॉन्सेप्ट। रेयर आदमी होगा, कोई रेयर बंदा होगा जिसके पास जो है ये सिस्टम हो कि सर्वेंट्स वाला कोई कॉन्सेप्ट। मर गए, वो सारे मर चुके थे, वो वॉर्स के अंदर बड़े बड़े मिलियंस मर गए। उसके बाद जब शुरू हुई तो वो पूरा कल्चर चेंज हो गया सोसाइटी का। आप कह सकते थे कि ये वॉर तो खत्म हो गई, अब तो उनको इतना पैसा आ गया जो वॉर से पहले भी नहीं था उनके पास, तो फिर दोबारा क्यों नहीं गए वापस सिस्टम में? इसलिए कि उन्होंने देख लिया कि उसके बगैर भी वो जिंदा रहे। पूरी वॉर के दौरान जब सारे लोगों को वॉर पे जाना पड़ा और पीछे औरतें और बच्चे और बूढ़े लोग रह गए और चंद आदमी रह गए बस, दे सर्वाइव्ड ऑल ऑफ देम। तो अभी जब ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, आपका क्या ख्याल है कि वो जब कोरोना खत्म भी हो जाए तो वो अभी भी बड़ी बड़ी बिल्डिंगें बनाएंगे और सब कुछ करेंगे? वो नहीं करेंगे, वो कहेंगे भाई पैसा बच गया इतना ज्यादा, इससे हम और कम्पिटिटिव हो गए, हमारी बिड्स जो हैं उसके अंदर अब बिल्डिंग का रेंट शामिल नहीं होगा, हमारी बिड, और आपका जो इनपुट, एक बड़ा इनपुट खत्म हो जाएगा कॉस्ट का, जो प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट का, तो आप चीपर सर्विसेज दे सकते हैं ना लोगों को कंपटीशन में आकर। तो ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा चेंजेस ड्रामेटिकली आ रहे हैं दुनिया भर में। अब तो बहुत जो है ना, इस तरह काम जो है वो इस तरह ही चलेगा सारे का सारा। ऑफ कोर्स जो छोटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वो उस तरह ही चलती रहेंगी जिस तरह हमेशा चलती थी। बहुत सारी छोटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं अडॉप्ट करेंगी और शायद उनको जरूरत भी ना हो, ना उनके क्लाइंट्स इस किस्म के हैं कि उनको शायद टेक्नोलॉजी पे। लेकिन आप देखें ना, ये ऊबर है, करीम है, सारे हैं ये। मैं हैरान होता हूँ, वो हमारी अपनी फैमिली में वो हाउस वाइफ, जो बूढ़ी औरतें जो कभी ड्राइवर और बेटे के लिए सारा दिन बैठी रहती थी गाड़ी के लिए, सारा दिन वो ये बुला के 100-200-300 रुपए में बचा के अपने काम करके आ जाती है। वो मैं तो खुद हैरान होता हूँ कि वो इन्होंने कैसे अडॉप्ट किया ये सारा कुछ, जो है वो कल्चर चेंज आ गया इतना बड़ा। Any other point?
Okay, so I don't think we have any further questions. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable time, and thank you for this enlightening session and this very interesting topic. And I would like to thank you once again. And I would like to thank the participants. And that is all from my side. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks.